Question from AFP. President Donald Trump has pulled his tariffs now on most countries, but has raised duties on China to 125%. He also said, imposing tariffs, China is disappointed with China, but still imposed them. China had shown a lack of respect. What is China's response to this treatment, and will China announce further rises in its own tariffs on US imports? Imposing tariffs on American products repeatedly and consistently. Thank you very much indeed.
Out of its selfish interests, the U.S. has used tariffs as a weapon to exert maximum pressure and seek selfish gains. This seriously infringes upon the legitimate rights and interests of countries, violates WTO rules, undermines the rules-based multilateral trading system, and destabilizes the global economic order. This move is against the whole world. Taking necessary countermeasures to oppose the U.S. bullying moves is not only aimed at protecting our own sovereignty, security, and development interests, but also for safeguarding international fairness, justice, safeguarding the multilateral trading system, and upholding the common interests of the international community, a just cause. Has the support of many. The U.S. move doesn't win the support of the people and will end in failure. Let me stress that tariff wars and trade wars have no winners. China does not want to fight them, but will not fear when they come our way. We will not sit by and let the legitimate rights and interests of the Chinese people be deprived of, and we will not sit by and let the international trade rules and multilateral trading system be undermined. If the U.S. is determined to fight a tariff and trade war, China's response will continue to the end. The U.S. has put its own interests over the public interest of the international community, and it has served its hegemonic interests at the expense of the legitimate interests of the whole world. This will meet with stronger opposition from the international community. Next question, please.
General Secretary of the Communist Party of China, Mr. Xi Jinping, has stated,
Thank you. Another one from FP. President Vladimir Zelensky has said that.
Yes.
Ukraine has control over more than 150 Chinese citizens, with specific information about their participation in military operations in Ukraine.
Please, don't hesitate to like, subscribe, share, and support the Mingjing and Diandian programs.
I want to reiterate once again, China, without a doubt, is not the creator of the Ukraine crisis, nor is it by any means the host of this situation, right?
China opposes pressure, intimidation. I strongly support and actively promote. The Chinese government has always required its citizens to declare the end of this calm and stay away from arms. Coercion and blackmail are not the correct ways to deal with China. If the U.S. truly wants to negotiate and is a stakeholder in the interests of both countries and the international community, it should adopt an attitude of understanding, respect, reciprocity, and mutual benefit, and respond to China's concerns. Anhui Television. Regarding tariffs, China's role is Chinese political parties should respect China's position and avoid irresponsible statements and prevent unfair remarks.
Question. U.S. President Donald Trump. When mentioning the tariff issue, President Trump said, indeed. President Trump said that China wants an agreement. China wants one.
But they don't know how. Trump said that China wants to negotiate, but they don't know how to do it. What does this sentence mean? Have the U.S. and China made contact regarding this matter in recent times?
The U.S. is still imposing tariffs on China arbitrarily. China firmly opposes and will not accept such hegemonic and bullying actions. Reject and will not accept. Pressuring, threatening, and blackmailing are not the correct ways to deal with China. If the U.S. shares relevant situations and information concerning both countries, if the U.S. wants to talk, it should show an attitude of benefit and mutual advantage. If the U.S. is a stakeholder in the interests of both countries and the international community, ignoring reason and advice, it should present a clear, dignified, and executable response. China will certainly accompany the U.S. to the end in the international community and international society. And practical response. Next question. Next question, please.
Anhui TV. Since the earthquake in Myanmar on March 28th, China has fully assisted Myanmar in conducting rescue operations, which has been praised by the Myanmar people and the international community.
Year also encourages cooperation between both sides with U.S. After the earthquake occurred in Myanmar, China's rescue forces quickly mobilized. Racing against time, they launched life-saving operations. China was the first to send a rescue team and the first to rapidly deploy a rescue team. The first to set up a rescue team in the affected area. China has continuously saved over 30 rescue teams in various regions and organizations. China has continuously saved over 30 rescue teams throughout the years. This demonstrates China's speed, efficiency, and warmth. It was warmly welcomed and appreciated by the public. Now in Myanmar, the work has shifted to epidemic prevention and construction. As a friendly and unwavering neighbor and a brotherly and deeply committed friend, the People's Republic of China has made a decision to provide a generous and substantial new batch of human resources, which includes highly skilled and experienced medical epidemic prevention experts, as well as construction safety experts who are well versed in the inspection, thorough assessment, and careful restoration of a wide range of buildings and invaluable cultural relics in a spirit of solidarity and cooperation. A merciless disaster brings out the best of humanity. China will continue to carry forward the spirit of POC-PO friendship, act in the spirit of the China-Myanmar community with a shared future, and help the people in Myanmar to overcome the difficulty and rebuild their homes.
Spanish FA news agency, what's China's response to U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Passon saying that Spain...
The other party said that Spain getting closer to China is tantamount to cutting its own throat. What is China's response to this?
Speaking of cutting throats...
The U.S. threat and blackmail against the rest of the world with tariffs is a real attempt to hold other countries by the throat and coerce them into making a compromise or concessions. The relationship between China and Spain is an integral part of China-EU relations. Last year, the total trade between our two countries topped $50 billion. Last year, the total trade between our two countries topped $50 billion and Spain's exports to China grew by 4.3%. In recent years, our bilateral cooperation in the new energy industry has boosted green and low-carbon development. We maintain communication in multilateral cooperation and jointly uphold the UN-centered international system and the multilateral trading system with the WTO at its core, as do the friendly ties between China and other countries. The cooperation between China and Spain always serves as a driving force for both countries. It promotes economic growth and brings tangible benefits to the two peoples, contributing to stability and development. How much RMB have you?
Thank you to the other person from AFP. I want to respond to President Zelensky's comments from yesterday. He mentioned a specific number when he was talking about the Chinese nationals allegedly fighting for Russia. 155 Chinese nationals, all SGT, all SGT. China mentioned that 155 Chinese citizens have joined the Russian army. Are Chinese diplomats in the process of verifying the actual number of its citizens that are allegedly fighting as mercenaries? The actions of these citizens in Russia show that Moscow is attempting to drag China into this. It shows that Russia hopes to... Next question. Regarding the specific question you mentioned, I have no information to disclose. I want to emphasize here. What I want to emphasize is China's position on the Ukraine crisis issue. That China's position is objective and fair. We are committed to ceasefire and talks for peace, which is very clear to the international community. Thank you, FP. Again, China has reminded its nationals to make a full assessment of the risks before traveling. You mentioned potential threats that Chinese nationals face, clearly preparation and analysis. The reminder issued by China is to address this situation arises because the U.S. has been relentlessly exerting extreme pressure on China, engaging in bullying behavior that severely undermines the social foundation and cultural environment of China-U.S. relations and seriously disrupts personal exchanges and cooperation between the two countries. China will continue to take resolute and forceful measures to firmly safeguard its national security. Next question. Are there any other questions? Are there any other questions? Any more questions? I have a question for Martyrs again on the tariffs. I wanted to confirm again our negotiations between China and the U.S. Can you confirm whether China and the United States are negotiating on tariff issues? S. Northerners in Beijing are focused on skill, abusing tariffs on China. China firmly rejects and will not accept such bullying and harmonic moves. Pressuring, threatening, and exporting. Dealing with China in this way is not right. If the U.S. truly wants talks, it should show an attitude of equality, respect, and mutual benefit. If the U.S. is bent on waging the tariff and trade war, China's response will continue to the end. Thanks again from writers. Trump has signed an executive order that levies U.S. port docking fees on any ships whose fleet has Chinese-built or Chinese-flagged vessels, aiming to reduce Chinese dominance in global shipping. An executive order has been signed to continue charging fees on ships related to China to boost the American shipbuilding industry. Your view on the development of China's shipbuilding industry is that of enterprises. The result of companies' tech innovation and active participation in market competition, which greatly contributes to global trade and the stable and secure operation of the global industrial supply chain. Various U.S. studies show that the U.S. shipbuilding industry lost its competitive advantage many years ago. Due to overprotection, blaming the U.S.'s own industrial woes on China lacks factual basis and economic common sense. The U.S.'s unilateralism and protectionism will find no support, but will only push up global maritime shipping costs, destabilize global supply chains, harm the interests of all countries, and ultimately fail to revitalize the U.S. shipbuilding industry